So it's been a couple of weeks since I've put anything up, and man, it feels like it's been a year since I've done anything. I've been really busy the last couple of weeks. Got my I've been doing a lot of shooting, doing a lot of qualifying, and I got my armed security license, and I have to work as an armed security guard for a year before I can get my instructor's permit. And so I've been dealing with that for the last couple of weeks and getting all that stuff knocked out. And lo and behold, I've got another qualification I got to go take, another pistol qualification. So I've been really kind of wrapped up with that the last couple of weeks. So, but here I am. I'm back. I've been saving a lot of stuff, getting it ready for this, uh, for the return back to the microphone. And I've got to start off with this, being as that I do live in Tennessee, and man, it's Tennessee is a pretty good place to live if you haven't been here, and obviously that's evidenced by the amount of liberals that are pouring into my state from New York and from California, from Michigan, Washington. I mean, they're pouring in here in droves. And I've said this before that used to be able to get, land-wise, Knoxville, Tennessee is actually very big land-wise, and used to be able to go from one side of the city to the next in 15 minutes. As big as it is, you could get across it in 15 minutes because there's just virtually no traffic. That was 10, 12 years ago. Now, I can't get from my house to the store down the road in 15 minutes. There are so many freaking people moving here from liberal states. They've turned Nashville purple. Nashville was once solid red, and they've turned it purple. And they're just flooding into this state to the point that it's gotten crazy, and you can't even move here anymore. I mean, it's gridlock in Knoxville, Tennessee. It doesn't matter what time of day you go, unless you're getting out there past 8 o'clock at night, there's just nowhere to go. I mean, you are stuck. You get on the interstate, it's not moving. You jump on a back road or a side road to get to wherever you're going to go, it's not moving. It has gotten insane from the amount of people moving in here, which is evidenced by our housing values, which has skyrocketed because these people are selling their mobile homes in California for $2 million, and then coming down here and overpaying cash for houses down here, and it's just driven our housing through the roof, which is insane now. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And you can no longer afford, if you are an average family on an average income, you can no longer afford to buy a house in the state of Tennessee. But more on that one in a different video. But speaking of all the people moving in here, I think it's about time some people move out of here. And the first person I'm going to call to move out would be Sheryl Crow. She lives in Nashville, and oh my God, she is a left-wing liberal nut job. And Sheryl Crow, if you see this video, I'm inviting you to leave. I'm inviting you to leave Tennessee. If you hate it that much, you might as well just go ahead and go. Because I guess Sheryl Crow hates freedom that is provided by our red state. I guess she would rather live in a lockdown communist society as a socialist dirtbag like California or maybe Oregon. Maybe she would love to live in those places because what she needs to do is pack her things up, move over there, and I guarantee you within a year, she will pack her ass back up and move her ass right back to the state of Tennessee. I guarantee it. Because once you live in the South, it is hard to move anywhere else in the United States because of our freedoms. All right? Because we do believe in our Constitution. We do not believe illegals have more rights than American citizens in the red southern states, unlike California, New York, Oregon, Washington, Minnesota. It goes on and on and on. So, Sheryl Crow, let me just read this headline here for you. Sheryl Crow struggles living in red state Tennessee, calls her Congress members every single morning. Yeah, to bitch, whine, and complain like a liberal does. So I'm going to go ahead and just read some of this article here. This has been sitting in my feed here for about a week and a half. And I'm just going to go ahead and read some of this. Sheryl Crow admitted that she struggles to live in Tennessee under Republican politicians because of her left-leaning politics. All right, so right there, I'm just going to jump in right there. I'm conservative, all right? So the chances of me moving to California are pretty much zero because I'm going to be surrounded by a lot of people who do not think and believe like myself. So therefore, I would never move to California. Now, I understand why hardcore liberals move to Tennessee and to the South, because they vote for their communist structure in their blue crime-ridden states. Then they realize, oh shit, we've made a mistake. It sucks living here now. Taxes are too high, housing's too high, crime is everywhere, there's no cops on the road, I don't like it, I'm moving. So they flood over here to a free state. They get here, they can breathe. Their kids are outside playing, things are happening, and they're like, wow, this is fantastic. Then they go vote Democrat. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. They escape the place they ruined and move to a place they intend on ruining. It's the damnedest thing. Hence, Sheryl Crow. While she praised the city as a place to raise her family, now you got to listen to this, because this is Democrat hypocrisy at the best. While she praised the city as a place to raise her family, the everyday is a winding road singer said that she's uncomfortable with the state as a whole because of its conservative leadership. And it goes on. Tennessee is a hard place for me. I mean, I struggle, Crow said. I call my representatives every single day. Andy Ogles and Marsha Blackburn hear from me every day, which I'm sure they're thrilled to hear from you every day, because we have to stand up and be vocal and fight for the future of our kids. Really? So you're saying you living in a place where we don't indoctrinate children, where we don't suggest they become trans, and to where if you don't enforce your kids' trans habits, you don't go to jail. So you're saying that that is fighting for your kids. So you're saying that you would rather us have those policies here. Because I'm not exactly sure what you're fighting for your kids when your kids have more freedom in the southern states than they do in any other state in America. So exactly what rights are you fighting for here, Sheryl Crow? I've got to know. I have to know. And if by chance you do see this video, by all means, drop me a comment and let me know what rights you're fighting for your kids. Because right now in the South, your kids have the right to be a kid. They don't have to go to school and learn about blowjobs when they're 7 years old, or learn about how Johnny became a little girl when they're 7 years old. That doesn't happen down here. So exactly what rights are you fighting for your kids? You want them to have the right to learn about blowjobs when they're 7 years old? Because that's easy. Pack up and move to California. Then you've got all the rights you want for your kids to end up being total weirdos instead of having a normal childhood like they do down here in the South. Moving on, she joked, I do think, are they laughing? Yes, they are laughing. But it's like what Jimmy Carter said, as long as there's legal bribery, we won't ever have fair elections. So we have to keep raising our voices and showing up to these organized rallies. You mean like the fair election in Arizona? Katie Hobbs, who literally stole that election. Everybody in the world knows she stole that election. How does Arizona, who votes 70% Republican, vote for a Democrat senator and a Democrat governor? How does that even happen? And how does Katie Hobbs, who actually is in control of the vote, able to run for governor? And she gets to control the very votes that for the position she's running for. How does that happen again? So you're talking about fair elections like that. Or let's just go ahead and take one step further. The 2020 election. I got in an argument the other day with a liberal about this. And he's like, you know, Joe Biden won that election fair and square, and the court is throwing out every single case, and there's never been any evidence that Donald Trump won. So I responded the way that I would normally respond. You're an idiot. That's the first thing out of my mouth. You're an idiot. So I said, so you're going to tell me that the guy who won the 2016 election lost the 2020 election, and then the very people who beat him in 2020 got destroyed by him in 2024. I said, what really happened is you all, the Democrats, the DNC, did not have COVID to hide behind and countless illegal mail-in ballots. And you cannot tell me that did not happen. You cannot tell me that. Because if it did not happen, then what happened to all those people who voted for Joe Biden and the Democrats in 2020? Where were they in 2024? The very guy that got cheated out of the 2020 election come back and destroyed them in 2024. Not only did he take the presidency, he won the presidency, he won Congress, he won the Senate, he won every single swing state that the liberals swore up and down drinks on the House Harris was going to win, that was going to put her into the presidency. Drinks on the House had twice the money Joe Biden had for the presidency. She had twice the support Joe Biden had for the presidency. She literally spent almost $2 billion trying to buy it and failed miserably. So you cannot sit here and tell me that Donald Trump lost that election in 2020. And then 4 years later, he comes back and annihilates the very people who beat him in 2020. Annihilates. So that is my say about that. Do with it what you will. You cannot convince me differently. So moving on from this idiotic statement that Sheryl Crow made, Crow described feeling more afraid of speaking out for left-wing causes because of the prevalence of guns, revealing that an armed man had gotten onto her property after she posted an Instagram video of herself selling her Tesla vehicle. This feels different because when I came out against Walmart carrying guns in a 1996 song, not everybody was armed. And certainly I didn't live in Tennessee, where everybody is armed. That's right, baby. So yeah, there was a moment where I actually really felt very afraid. A man got on my property in my barn who was armed. It doesn't feel safe when you're dealing with people who are so committed. So let's clear a few things up here. First off, just because he was armed does not mean he was legally armed. All right? That has nothing to do with state law in Tennessee whatsoever. Look at the gun laws in Chicago. How many murders do they have up there a weekend? What just happened in Minneapolis? Look at their gun laws. What just happened there? How many people got shot and killed? How many people over the weekend? 6, was it? Shot and killed in Minneapolis? And I guarantee none of those people were legal gun-carrying Americans. Just like chances are, the guy that got onto your property, chances are, was not a legal gun-carrying person. Chances are he was a moron that got a gun, because you can get guns anywhere. I don't care what state you're in. You can get guns. And that's further proven by the murder rate in Chicago. What, are they talking these people to death in Chicago? No, they're shooting them. Or to use proper Chicago vernacular, they're popping a cap in their ass. So your comment is absolutely stupid. You're so uninformed, it's not even funny. Just because this guy has a gun, that doesn't mean everybody in the state of Tennessee has a gun, which we do. But most people that have guns here are legal gun-carrying citizens. And this is a fun little fact for you, Sheryl Crow. Did you know that in 2022, when they passed our right to carry guns here in the state of Tennessee, crime went down in the state of Tennessee? What do you know? So apparently that works, because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody I know carries a weapon. Most of us have been trained. A couple of my friends haven't. It kind of pisses me off. We have our licenses. We've been trained. God knows the amount of training me and my friend Mark has gone through. And he's gone through twice as much as I have. Is insane. But, the reason crime doesn't happen in my household, because you don't want to break into my house. I carry a weapon. My wife carries a weapon. All my friends carry weapons. If something goes wrong at one of my friends' house, they call me. I'm there with my weapons. We're not stupid. And I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off. But until they stop liberals from carrying guns, I'm going to have a gun. Because if you start looking at the murder rate, I'm sorry. Liberals commit more crime than anybody. By far. By far. So, you stop Democrats from having guns, I will gladly give up my weapon. I won't need it anymore. Because I don't see Republicans burning down Tesla stores, scratching up cars, vandalizing schools, taking over buildings, beating on cops, flipping cop cars, turning them over, setting them on fire. I don't see Republicans doing that, but I sure as hell see a lot of liberals doing that. Shit, every day I turn on the news. Every day in a blue city, a group of unhinged, whacked out liberals has done something shockingly stupid again, to the point that it's no longer shocking. Now it's just another day in America, another day in a blue city, another day in liberal USA. You know, look what's going on over Washington State. They took over the freaking building in the campus. And they're in there screaming, death to all cops, death to all cops. And you're going to sit here and say, Sheryl Crow, that the problem's in Tennessee because we carry guns? Really? Why don't you move your family up to Washington State and get a little taste of that? And like I said, move your ass away. Go to some liberal state. Go to any blue state in the United States. I will give you a year and your ass will be right back here in Tennessee. Loving the freedoms that we provide for you in a red state with our guns. Sorry, I had to take that phone call. It's my wife. And it's funny. I could sit in this studio for hours. The cameras are off, you know, just sitting here doing my research and all that. My phone will never ring. And as soon as I hit record, bring, 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 every time without fail. So moving back on, getting back into this, I can't help it, Crow said. I feel like I'm fighting for my kids. Also, that's the way I was raised. There have been times when it hasn't really been fun. But I follow my Atticus Finch dad. I'm very similar to him, and if I see something that seems unfair, you know. My parents always said, you are who you hang out with. There comes a time when you have to decide who you're willing to align with. So long, Tesla. This is the quote she put on her post. Let me just go ahead and read this last little part here. Money donated to at NPR, which is under threat by President Musk, in hopes that the truth will continue to find its way to those willing to know the truth, she continued. So let's just go ahead and get this out of the way about NPR. NPR is a left-leaning liberal rag that supports strictly off taxpayers' funding. So you know what, Sheryl Crow? You know what? First off, NPR, they don't tell the truth about anything. They don't tell the truth about anything. And I will gladly debate you on NPR, and I will show you how wrong you are in that idiotic statement that you just made right there. I will gladly debate you about the lies NPR has told and about how left-leaning they truly are, which is right up your area. Now I understand you are a liberal, and to you, anything that they talk about left-leaning is truth. I understand that. But unfortunately, 99% of the time, it's not. And then, of course, you talk about who you align with. So you sold your Tesla because you disagree with Elon Musk and Doge. That's interesting. Because I bet your dad was supporting Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton was talking about cleaning up government waste and basically doing the same exact thing that Donald Trump did. And I bet you were all on board with Barack Obama when he said he was going to do it. Hell yeah, let's get on it. Come on, let's clean up that government waste, Barack. And as soon as Donald Trump does it, then all of a sudden it becomes an issue. Well, the problem is let's be honest, Bill Clinton didn't have the balls to do it. Neither did Barack Obama. Neither did Barack. Donald Trump did. And now that Donald Trump finally steps up to bat and says, you know what, we've got to clean this up. This is bad. And the first thing he attacked was the liberal waste under Joe Biden and Barack Obama, who put hundreds of millions of dollars were just being wasted of taxpayer money. Because guess what, Sheryl Crow? Not everybody gets to make the kind of money that you make. A lot of people go out here and bust their ass every single day at a job they probably hate to make ends meet. So why would they want their tax money being frivolous spent by a bunch of liberals? Why would they want that? Why would anybody want that? And better yet, why would you liberals want your money being frivolously spent? But apparently you don't mind it. Because soon as Elon Musk steps up and says, hey, we have found hundreds of billions of dollars of waste, and he starts cutting it, then all of a sudden you get in an uproar. That is absolutely hilarious to me. Now, I don't know what kind of car you bought when you sold your Tesla, which I'm going to tell you now, that was a bonehead move. That was a shockingly stupid thing to do because that shows your hypocrisy. You know what? I've got some Nike shoes downstairs. Nike tennis shoes. I disagree with everything Nike. I think Nike is a shitbox company. I think they use slave labor, and I think they indoctrinate children. I'm not going to run down there and set them on fire. I bought the damn things. I will wear them till they die, and then I will debate at that point if I'm ever going to buy another pair. But I'm not going to turn around and say, oh my God, oh, Elon Musk, oh, I got to sell my Tesla. That is absolutely stupid. Now, I have no idea what car you bought to take care of your Tesla. But it wouldn't shock me to know that you pulled an AOC and bought a Volkswagen because you didn't want a car that was made by a dictator. That's literally what AOC said. Got rid of her Tesla, bought a Volkswagen because she did not want a car made by a dictator. That is how stupid AOC is. But you know what? When you go from being a bartender, from slinging drinks to Congress, I guess the sky's the limit for you. I guess the sky is the limit. Of course, if you go to AOC's district, she has one of the worst districts in America. Prostitution and drugs run rampant in her district. And her constituents, they go to the town halls and they complain, they cry, they bitch, they whine. They tell her she's doing a horrible job. Then they turn right around and vote her right back into office. So, Sheryl, why don't you go up there and move into AOC's district? Because that's the kind of people you want to be around, apparently. Apparently, that's what you want. Because I'm still trying to figure out why it's so hard for you to live in Tennessee. I guess the freedoms are too much for you. I guess the fact that here you can drive whatever car you want to drive. Here we didn't tell you get a shot or lose your job. We didn't do that in Tennessee. So maybe you like to be ruled. Maybe you're one of those people, somebody who has to be told what to do every single day of their life. Because I can't for the life of me figure out why you hate living in such a free state as Tennessee. And why you have the audacity to complain about it. So there again, Sheryl Crow, my advice to you, pack your shit up, move out. You won't be missed. I can tell you that now. I will not shed one tear if you leave the state of Tennessee. But I will give you a year. I will give you 1 year. You move to your blue state, any blue state you want. I will give you 1 year. And guess what? Your ass will be right back in Tennessee.